Hi, I'm Trisha Morris at Club Scrap. Welcome to our Sea Breeze Remix Assembly Workshop. Now, if you're holding a Sea Breeze kit in your hand and it doesn't look like this, look for another Sea Breeze workshop. We've done a few versions of this collection simply because it's been so popular for obvious reasons. This is my favorite color palette, my favorite theme, my favorite thing to take pictures of. So Sea Breeze is definitely has been a hit for our members and shoppers in the past. So what I will do to start things off is sort all of the papers in the order that we'll be using them. This is our tradition. So I'll set aside these finished pages for later. And I typically like to hold the paper vertical while I'm shopping for the right colors because it's just easier to see it. And we're going to begin by finding one of the starfish prints. That's going to be the first thing we work with. And then go ahead and find the sea glass print. Message in a bottle print. Notice I put both of those prints face down on my work surface so that we can flip back over to this and that'll be number one. Then there are 3 different shades of blue, light, medium, and dark. So let's just take a look here. This is the lighter blue, then the medium. It's pretty obvious. Light, medium, and dark. So grab 2 medium blues. 1, 2. 2 of those. Then 2 dark blues. And there are 3 total provided, so just make sure you have 2 of them. Then 1 green, 1 white. Now there is just 1 white plain in here, so as you're looking, if you can't find it, make sure you didn't think it was a print or something like that, or make sure you're not grabbing a print right now. It's going to be plain on both sides. Then usually Deb collates this on the back of the pile. So for the Cutaparts, first let's find the one that has all the strips on it, and then we'll find the other one that has all the miscellaneous images and journaling prompts, putting those face down on my pile. If I'm going too fast, you can slow me down by just adjusting your playback speed on your YouTube settings. Let's see, then let's find the rest, homes for the rest of these. I need 2 light blue planes. So 1, 2 of those. And then 1 dark blue, that should be just the one remaining. The remaining starfish print, put that face down. Next, let's find the sea glass print, the other light blue, and then 2 green. And if you take that and flip it right back on over, here we are right at the beginning. Now, before I bring my trimmer onto the scene for my first trick, I'm going to use my grid ruler. Now, from the picture on page 1 of your instructions, do you see how the paper is green in the lower left corner of the diagram and that this is like a torn area? So I want to just tear 3 inches off this side of the print. And it just so happens that if you have one of our awesome grid rulers, this is also 3 inches. But I am right-handed, so if you were left-handed, you would just press down, put the ruler right on the edge of the paper, press down, and tear toward you. But since I'm right-handed, I'm just going to rotate this so it's comfortable. So basically, take the piece, dark blue should be in the lower left corner, line up the edge of the ruler with the edge of the paper, push down on the ruler. I know it's beautiful paper. It's almost hard to tear it, isn't it? I'm just going to tear to create a nice little beachy torn edge here. Okay, that's step 1. Now from this point, I'm just going to stack everything up and enter my awesome trimmer. If you don't have this trimmer, can't recommend that enough. And then I'm using my accordion pocket files so that all the pieces for layout number 1 and 2 would go in the first pocket while we do all the trimming for 8 layouts at the same time. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the torn piece and place this in pocket 1 and 2 at a nice little angle so that it doesn't, I'm not jamming it down in there. And then take the remainder of the piece, and now I have the green in the lower left corner. Just 2 more cuts. This is nice and easy. We'll cut at 6. I could have probably trimmed all of these with the trimmer. And 3, or trimmed them, or torn them all with the ruler. Okay, so this piece with the green, 5 and 6. And the remaining 2 pieces, 1 and 2. Okay, next, here is the bottle print. So let's place this in the trimmer with the bottle in the lower right corner, and we'll trim at 6 1/4. And then take both of the pieces and put them in pockets 7 and 8, again at an angle so you can still see the pocket. Now take 1 of the medium blue. So there are 2 there, just make sure you have 1. And let's cut at 11 3/4, 11 1/2, 10 1/4, and 6 1/4. Rotate, and we'll trim this 6 1/4 piece at 8 1/2 and 4 1/4. Gives us two nice sized photo mats going in pocket 1 and 2. Then we have a little rectangle, and if you've worked with me in the past, you'll know I do this often. We'll just trim that at 6 and 3. And both of these pieces go in 1 and 2. Now, 1 and 2 is going to get a lot of this color. And we do have a small scrap here. Then the next wider strip, currently 4 by 12, we'll cut at 10, 7, and 4. So then you have a square and then two rectangles that are the same size. All of that goes in pocket 1 and 2. Then you have this little 2 by 4 inch piece. I'm going to cut that horizontally at 2 to make squares. And both of these pieces go in pocket 1 and 2 as well. There's a wider strip going in 7 and 8. And then we have two really skinny ones. Put one of them in 5 and 6 and the other in 7 and 8. Okay, now we have the next medium blue. We'll trim at 6 1/4. And as is our routine, then we'll rotate, trim at 8 1/2 and 4 1/4. You'll get good at that. And then I'm going to take the two pieces that are the same. Those go again in pocket 1 and 2. This time the rectangle will trim the same exact way again at 6 and 3. And you can file those both in pocket 5 and 6. Once again, we did create a small little scrap. And the remaining larger piece, we will cut horizontally at 8 and 4 1/4. This piece goes in pocket 3 and 4. The next one, this is a little skinnier, it goes in 5 and 6. And this one, the final one, we're going to trim horizontally at 2 3/4 and then rotate so it's horizontal again and cut at 2. Just made two smaller rectangles going in pocket 7 and 8, and then this other rectangle 5 and 6. Okay, moving on to just one sheet of the dark blue that's next on your pile. We'll cut at 11 3/4, 11, 9 1/2, 7 3/4, and 4 1/4. Then let's rotate and cut at 6 3/4. This longer piece and the shorter one, they both go in pocket 7 and 8. This wider piece, 5 and 6. And then I'm just going to pick up all the remaining pieces, trying to maintain the order that they landed. So the top widest goes in 1 and 2. And this next one is sort of a medium size, goes in 7 and 8. The next smallest goes in 3 and 4. And this tiny little strip, 1 and 2. The other dark blue we'll trim again at 11 3/4. And then 11, 8 1/4, and 4. Then rotate and trim at 6. It gives us two pieces the same exact size. We'll file those in pocket 3 and 4. The next strip we're going to cut at 11 1/2 and 6 1/4. Stack up these two rectangles, and we're going to put those in pocket 7 and 8. We did create a small scrap in the process. And then we have this 2 3/4 inch strip from which I'm going to make a bunch of squares. But first we have to start at 11, and then 8 1/4, 5 1/2, 2 3/4. So if you just grab all the square pieces, there should be 4 of them, and they're going to go in pocket 3 and 4. Then there's this smaller piece going in pocket 1 and 2, believe it or not. Then the wider remaining strip, 7 and 8, and then the skinny strip, 1 and 2. Two more regular plain sheets to cut. First one, green, we're going to go at 6 1/4, do the same routine. Then rotate 8 1/2, 4 1/4. That gives us our photo mats. file both of them together in pocket 3 and 4. Same thing here. Now, this is 6 1/4 by 3 1/2. And if I wasn't doing this for you, I'd probably just trim it at 3 1/8. I would have no scraps. But sometimes it's kind of nice to be able to work with whole numbers. So we're just going to cut at 6 and 3. And that's what creates that little scrap. Both of these pieces are used in 5 and 6. And again, a small scrap. Pick up the next piece to the right of your trimmer. We're going to make some rectangles of equal size. We're going to start up at 11 1/4, 7 1/2, 3 3/4. Okay, 3 rectangles used together in page 3 and 4. And this piece we're going to put in pocket 1 and 2 for a little special little banner we're going to make. Now, off to the white plain. Let's start at 8 1/4 and 4. Rotate the 4-inch piece and just cut this in half at 6. All right, put one of them in pocket 1 and 2 and the other in pocket 5 and 6. Pick up the next strip. This currently is 4 1/4 by 12. We're going to cut horizontally at 6 1/4 and put both of these pieces in pocket 5 and 6. Then we're going to make some squares. Start out at 11 1/4, 7 1/2, 3 3/4. All 3 of these pieces go in pocket 7 and 8 and our final scrap. So from 16 sheets of paper, this is all that you have left. That's it. Just that little handful of scraps. That's not bad, is it? 16 sheets down to that. Okay, next. We have our Cutaparts, and if you've been around for a bit, you now know that we provide you with a slightly larger piece of paper. This is 12 1/2 or 12 1/4 by 12 1/4. And you see the little line in the corner there? That tells you where you want your blade to slice this paper. We want to get a nice accurate 12 by 12. And so we have found that you can do a better job of that than our gigantic paper trimmers. Getting it spot on has been a challenge. So this is our remedy to help get us to a nice foundation. So just basically work your way around the print, lining up that little tiny hash mark with the edge of your blade so that you have the perfect 12 by 12. You can throw away all those little scraps, and then we'll put it back in the trimmer so that all this row of sea glass is here on the right. And we're going to cut at 10 3/4, 10 1/4, 9 3/4, 8 1/4, 7 1/4, 5 1/4, and 3 1/4. Lots of quarters in there. Okay, so now for the easiest filing, I'm going to pick up everything that landed, put it in the palm of my hand, and then we have the large piece that we ended with. So this piece right here, that's going to go in pocket 5 and 6. And this way it's just easier to deal out all these strips, kind of like dealing a hand of cards. Then this Memories one, 3 and 4. Starfish going in 1 and 2. Happiness is a quiet walk along the beach. Yes, indeed it is. That's 7 and 8. The green strip, Starfish, that's going into 1 and 2. The aqua border, 7 and 8. The blue border, 3 and 4. And then the sea glass, 7 and 8. Okay. We get to do that whole thing again now with this remaining piece, so go ahead and just pause me while you remove the outside perimeter of this piece. All right, with that done, make sure the word piece is in the lower right corner before we start slicing this into bits. And we're going to go at about 10 1/2. Always err, making sure that you know your blade's going to go through and between the artwork, not through it. Then 7 3/4. 4. Give it a rotate so that the sea glass is at the top. And we'll cut at 6 1/2. Okay, so this larger piece goes in pocket 7 and 8, and then the piece with soul goes in 3 and 4. Picking up the next strip, we're going to do 9 1/4, 6 1/2, 3 3/4. Let's pick up just those pieces from that row. The first square, Find Treasures, goes in 1 and 2. So does the horizontal journaling prompt. The vertical prompt goes in 5 and 6. And then the seashells, 1 and 2. Okay, next strip. Joy should be on your right. It's the smallest piece. And we'll go at 9 3/4, 6 1/2, 3 1/4. Okay, let's gather up those pieces. The shell with journaling, 1 and 2. The big starfish, 5 and 6. Seashells and salty waves, 1 and 2. And then Joy and Tranquility, 5 and 6. Finally, this is going to be our last cut. That's it. At 9 1/4, make sure Sea Breeze is on your left. And this piece goes in pocket 5 and 6. And this little guy, 7 and 8. Hip hip hooray. That's all the trimming done in probably record time. So I'm going to get rid of my trimmer and lay my accordion pocket file on its back. And also turn to the final page of your instructions. For me, this is page 5. And we're looking at the bottom. So the plan now is to take the rest of the stack of papers that you have. And if this is your first time, welcome to the stack and slide segment of our workshop. So imagine that your workspace is 12 by 24 inches and this is the center. Take the entire stack of paper that you have left. It should be 1 sheet of aqua on the top, or this light blue. And that needs to be left of center. And then pick up 1 piece and slide. And now you have the base for layouts 7 and 8, which again are at the bottom of the page here. And we're going to just dry fit the pieces that are left in our pockets, working from 7 and 8 down to 1 and 2, so that at the top of the pile, everything will be ready to go, and you can begin back at 1 and 2 with adhesive and putting your pages together. And after that's done, you can just go ahead and add your pictures. Easy as that. So now notice that just like when I'm picking stuff off from next to the trimmer, I put it in the palm of my hand, and I try to do the same thing even with this because it's just easier to deal it out. And we're going to find that largest piece, and that has the little sandal or a starfish up there, and put him on the right. And then the other one with the bottle, we're going to put horizontally across the top. Now what I like to do is add some things along the edges of these pieces. So we're going to do the title, Happiness is a Quiet Walk, nesting onto a medium blue paper. Across the bottom, you should have a 3/4 inch dark blue strip that you can nest with the aqua dots, and above it you can add another medium blue strip right next to it. It's just a nice pretty way of anchoring everything here. Right on the top of my pile here I have 3 white squares, and the dimension that we use allows us to place them in a row, kind of like a film strip. And then to the right of that we can add this blue strip nested with the sea glass. Cool, right? Let's see, what else do we have here? There should be 2 more stubby blue planes. Those are 5 1/4 inch wide, I believe, and those are going to go horizontally over on the right side. Now for the left, I've got a really pretty tall cut apart here. I'm going to place that vertically, and then it should nest with this perfectly. And then this will go down on the left side horizontally. And you've got 2 smaller little mats that can be accents there. And then the word peace. And I also did add a satin bow. Then I took 3 of these adorable seashells, and just with scissors, it's really easy. I just go ahead and cut off the little attachment loop, and I put a foam adhesive circle behind there, peeled off the backing, and then just press it onto the page, and that's just a pretty little row of accent right there. Love how this page turned out. Let me show you if there's any other finishing touches. Here we have, not a whole lot went on there on page 7, just a nice and easy page, and it's rotatable. You could also, switch it so it's vertical, or you could switch it this way. I kind of do like it this way, but it just kind of depends on, if you have a lot of horizontal photos. On vacation, like beachy vacations, people do tend to take a lot of horizontal pictures. And then page 7, couple of fun details to point out. So here's my foam adhesive shells. Then down on the right corner, that's just a basic bow. I do have a video you can find at clubscript.com/pages/ribbon. I'll put the link on the video right at the bottom here, and that will show you how I made that lovely bow if you're not sure about yourself on that one. Then I took a paper piercing tool you see right here above and below the bottleneck, and then I didn't even use a needle. I just this wax linen thread is thick enough that I could just poke it through the holes, and first I tied it onto the bottle, then I tied the thread onto the charm, or charm onto the thread, and made a little bow. That's the sweetest little thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I love it. Okay, so that is layout 7 and 8. Now to move on, obviously all this stuff is probably going to fall and move. That's okay, because when you go back to adhere everything, you'll just know everything's there for that one page, and it's a quick, you make really quick work of it. Okay, now this is already set up for page 5 and 6, and if I look in my image, I can see that there's the lightest green part of the print is in the upper left corner. Of course, it doesn't really matter, but a lot of people want to know how I did it, so that's why I share that information. Now I'm emptying everything from the pocket labeled 5 and 6. Across the top here, I've got a nice wide border strip nested with "The sea breeze is perfume to my soul," and oh, it is. It's just one of my favorite things. Okay, then along the right edge here, we've got our more of a green tone toward the bottom, and I added a little accent color here right next to it. Then green squares are horizontal. I have all these different sizes of white, so I'm going to try to help you organize that a little bit. Here we've got this border kind of in the middle. Join Tranquility is going to go over here. You've got a vertical medium blue. There should be a piece of blue that nests with your journaling prompt. Okay, so those are going to be your cues. So I want a white mat that's the same height as this. And there it is. Look how it fits in there like a puzzle. Just perfect. Now I want another photo mat that's the same width as this. That's too big. Let's use this one. Same height, 4 inches, okay? Then over here, the remaining largest one's going to go in this spot. And then we can take our blue squares and put them on either side as well. And this nests right onto that one. Now you could put a picture in there as well. Sometimes it's nice just to have a couple of place markers just in case you don't have enough pictures to finish your page. Finishing touches for layout number 6. You can see the placement again of 3 a row. I like to do things in the sets like this. I think it's very eye-catching, looks very professional, and again with the foam adhesive on this as well. Really pops it up nicely. Foam adhesive for this strip, just stapled some of that gorgeous blue satin. And I'm telling you, this is like a full inch wide. It is just luxurious to work with, and it's double-faced, so there's no right or wrong side to it. And then for this one, I did a double loop bow, also can be learned in my ribbons video. The double loop bow was made, and then I tied some thread onto the charm, and then tied a little bow to put them onto the double loop. Sweet as can be, and he looks great there. All right, that is layout 6. Now layout 5, I carried over. So sometimes like I did the double loop bow here, I did it here with the remaining part of the ribbon, and I used every last little inch of that ribbon. What I found to be super cool, and I don't think it was planned, I really, really don't, but behind here, let me show you. On the cut apart, do you see that we have a printed starfish? She's just on there. Turns out the starfish charm we included in your kit is the exact same size as the printed starfish. So I glued him there because I thought he's perfect. Okay, so those are layouts 5 and 6. Now, again, the stack and slide. So I'm going to take this piece and slide it on over, stack it onto this. And then this one comes over, and now I have the base for layouts 3 and 4. The bottle does go in the lower right corner for this print, and you should have the light blue on the left. Next, empty everything out of pocket 3 and 4. This is just such a neat approach to scrapbooking that might be unlike anything you've ever tried if you're new here. So I hope that you're starting to catch on to how awesome this can be. I've got 3 smaller green mats. Again, just like the white squares, they're going to fit across the page perfectly in a film strip style. Then take that dark blue border strip and then just block it in there so it's nice and framed up. You got equal spacing between all those pieces. And then comes the dotted border strip. Below that, we can add our memories and there should be 4 blue squares, same thing here, with equal spacing. You should be able to distribute those 4 squares across the bottom of that page. Isn't that cool how that fit? Okay, then on the right, 2 green are going to go horizontal. I do like to vary vertical, horizontal. It adds interest to the page. If you've ever tried to scrapbook a page with all horizontal mats, it can be kind of dull looking. So let's say you have a whole bunch of horizontal pictures of a sunset, for example. You could cut them down to, I think it'd be like this 2.5 by 3, 2 3/4 by 3.5, and you could put a bunch of them there. But you're matting them on a vertical mat, but they're really horizontal pictures doubled up. So you could do some cool things there. Finally, this last piece nests together. And I did a double loop bow with a plentiful, I had 3 full yards of this stunning satin, so I used it liberally. And then another starfish charm over on that one. So let's take a look. Here is the right page. Again, the double loop bow with a knot kind of off center, so the knot's toward the bottom. I also took a craft knife when I figured out where I wanted this to go, and I just tucked the lower right corner of this behind the bottle. Wish I could see through the bottle. That'd be kind of cool. And then I taped the ends of the ribbon on the back. You can kind of see where this is coming out from the cut area. And there's that little starfish charm. And then layout number 2, I did the same trick with the sand dollar charm and then tying it onto the bottle. All I did was just, again, pierce a hole with a paper piercing tool. You could use a thumbtack or a push pin, and that works out great. Kind of just adds a little something, but really the centerpiece of this photo or of this page are your photos. And that's frankly our goal, right? We are scrapbooking our memories, not just creating artistic things. We're doing both. Now, page 1 and 2, here we go. Everything coming out of this pocket, our last pocket. And again, even if you can't grab it all initially, take it out and then just pick it up and put it in the palm of your hand. When I watch students in class struggle, it's usually with just picking something up off the table. It slows them down tremendously, and it can be a little bit frustrating to try to grab stuff. All right, so I'm going to begin with some of these border strips. I believe the one with 2 straight edges is going to be on the right side. And then again, it doesn't really matter. They're all the same, but I know people do like to do it exactly. So this is the darkest blue. So here's more of the medium tone. And then I've got the lightest green over here. But again, it's not going to negatively affect anything to switch them around. Okay, then to the right of this strip, because it is a straight edge, I'm going to add another like transition color just to spice it up. And then we've got this vertical border. It kind of is an ombre. And this. Now in the image, it looks really green. And the reason for that is that I've run some of this green. Again, I had a plentiful amount of this chiffon or organza, whatever you want to call it. I ran that across the strip there, and I'll show you on the finished layout. But that's why it looks green, because it is. Now across the top here, I have a little space. You can kind of see the torn edge ever so slightly. And then my page title, You Are the Starfish of the Show. Let's see, I'm going to do 2 vertical photo mats here. Now all of these larger medium blue mats are the same exact size. So I'm going to put 2 vertical and then 2 horizontal, a total of 4 in there. Okay, the next thing, let's see, these 2 sweet guys, I just added them down there just for a little accent photo. And in the middle, I just brightened things up a little with some white. The big blue, medium blue square goes on the right edge, and then it should have a pal, this image. Again, a picture could go there. It's just a nice place marker. There should be 2 other blue pieces that are the same width. They're 4 inches wide. I just wrote all the instructions, so these numbers are very fresh in my mind. And I've got the shells and then the journaling prompt in the middle. You can take one of these sweet shells and put it there if you like. Okay, now on this side, I've got a horizontal medium blue and a vertical in this little spot fitting just perfectly. And I can add my journaling prompt here and a little caption there. Now, what about these 2 guys? Well, I've got fun plans for them. I'm going to cut a V into the end, one short end of this green, and do the same for this blue. So I'm just kind of shooting for the center. You could get more scientific with it and use the angle marking on your ruler, and then you nest. Notice the ends are a completely different size. If you would like, you can snip off the end of the green a little bit, and that gets tucked behind here, and that would make a fun little caption for like the year you traveled, or the location, the beach you're on. Oh, take me away. All right, now let's look at the finished page. I can see I just ran this ribbon along. It kind of gives it a nice little soft touch. Again, this is mounted with the foam adhesive circles that are indispensable to me. I added the final seahorse charm. All I did was tie a bow on the top of him in the hanging loop, and used bookbinding glue to attach it to the page. A little glue on the seahorse and a little glue on the bow worked perfectly. And I hope you have like something like that in your stash. Most people do. It's just a waxed linen thread, or any kind of a thread or ribbon would do. And then on page 1, the pièce de la résistance, we've got our relax. And I know every French teacher is cringing. I apologize, but you know, one can try. So that's gorgeous on there. I just used bookbinding glue from needle tip applicator to attach that to the strip across the top here. Stapled piece of folded ribbon here. Mounted it with foam adhesive. On the left, tied. I mean, I had so much of this ribbon, I could have gone on, and added the little, just tucked in the shell, just kind of near the tip of the bow, the knot in the bow. Yes, that's it. This is Seabreeze. Gotta tell you, I love this collection so much. And you know that we've come out with a lot of different projects, the Flexa Planner, some trifold albums. We got all kinds of other non-page gifty book projects. The U-Hinge book would be great in this. The box, we have the box with a little mini U-Hinge book inside, and you could put all of your vacation photos in that little box. Oh, it'd be so sweet. So go ahead and experiment with, maybe get 2 of these kits, and then you could make a project with one of them and make pages with the other. But either way, I hope you enjoy Seabreeze. I look forward to seeing you again in another workshop. I've got a ton of them out there. If you've got some pages that need to be made, we here at Club Scrap are here to help, and come and join us with a subscription. We'll have a lot of fun together. See you next time.